And we're rolling. Shitty day. 56 miles in the frigging tank. You bastards. Well, good morning and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm at BMW having my GS serviced. It's in for its 12,000 mile service, which apparently is the bigger one that's going to cost an arm and a leg. So yeah, needs must and all that. I'm not looking forward to paying for it, but yeah, pleasure and pain and all that in equal measures. So they've lent me the new 1250. Oh shit, where you going, mate? Ouch. They've lent me the new 1250R, the BMW 1250R. But this thing feels beautiful. So I've done literally not even a mile on it yet, stuck behind a nice little truck doing about 3 miles an hour. But its slow road manners seem perfectly good. I'm actually in road mode at the moment. I mean, the controls are pretty much similar to the GS, so nothing unusual there for me, put it like that. But we'll leave it in road mode for a bit, see what happens. This one's got an aquapovic cam, so it sounds a little bit more meatier than my GS, but obviously it's the same engine, the 1250 boxer engine with the shift-cam technology to give it a bit more zippity-doo-dah down low. See if this aquapovic makes any difference on the performance. The heated grips are on, which is, and I think that is the heated seat. The heated seat is on. It was already on when I got on it, so I don't know how to turn it on. I've got no idea. I don't know. I haven't looked how to turn the heated seat on, but I've never had a heated seat on a bike before, so I've got a warm anus now, which is quite nice. Toast up the anus area. I like it. So this is little beauty. Oh, that was nice. It's very GS-like, obviously. It's very. I'm going to compare this bike all the way through this review to the GS because that's the bike that I'm used to riding. So this is obviously, it's pretty much like a GS in a different body. So yeah, it's one thing you do notice, and you probably won't be hearing me now because the wind noise, is the wind noise. Because obviously this being a naked, there's no screen on the front, so the first thing I'm noticing is I'm being buffered to hell. But as far as the seat position goes, it's kind of obviously sportier than the GS. You are sat upright on it, which is kind of nice. You're not crouched forward like you're on a sports bike, so it is a nice, your upper body is in like a nice upright position, your hands are not bent too far forwards. It's a bit more of an aggressive tuck, so my knees are a little bit higher than what I'm used to on the GS. It's not like knees around your ear rolls like on a sports bike, but it is more of an aggressive tuck than what I'm used to, which again is fine. It's, I say aggressive, it's more of a sportier stance on the lower body. My feet are slightly back to where I'm used to my feet slightly forward on the GS. It's a nice comfortable place to sit. This heated seat is really warm. When I haven't got any waterproof something, now it started raining a bit, and now it stops. I love this exhaust sound. It just gives it a little bit more spice, a little bit more bark, without being overly sort of antisocial or anything. These are very bitey brakes. And again, this one's got like the conventional upside down fork, so when you do give it a hand front brake, it dives. It's not diving loads. I mean, the suspension's pretty firm, considering I'm in road mode at the moment. Has this thing got electronic suspension? Yes, it has. So if I was to put it in dynamic mode, where's the mode button? Same as mine. Road, dynamic, pull the clutch in and out. Right, now I'm in dynamic mode, so that should stiffen the suspension up a bit and improve throttle response. So far I can deduce from this ride that it's a nice comfortable bike. It goes like a GS, but it's like a sportier version of a GS with no wind protection, no weather protection. But if that's a concern of yours, then go for the RS model, which has the weather protection. I suppose I'm going to spend some of my own money on fuel, then Right, is there any what's going on here then? The can in it. Lovely. Would I have one? Yeah, I think I would have one. Would I swap my GS to one? No. Why is that? Because I like my GS. I'm old, I like my GS. For me, having a brief little go on one of these, I think if I was going to have one of these, I mean, if money was no object, I'd have like one of everything, or a bike for every occasion, and this would fit nicely into some sort of occasion, like I say, a B-road bomber occasion. But the reason I'm only having one Beamer out of the range, it has to be the GS, simply because I like a big old tractor. If I want to go anywhere, I want to be on something big and comfortable. If I wasn't that old, say I was like getting old and I'm stepping off a sports bike, but I don't want to go straight into the old man's GS, then something like this is kind of like a good halfway house. That's why these sort of like Street Fighter naked sort of sports tourer bikes, whatever you want to call them, seem to be a lot more popular than sports bikes now, because the sports bikes on the road is it's a shame, and I'm glad they still make them, because there's obviously a place for sports bikes. I still love sports bikes, but you don't see as many on the road as what you used to years and years ago. And I think there's many reasons for that, but this is kind of like a halfway house between a sports bike and a GS, I suppose. Of course it comes with quick shifter up and down. There you go, and then you can go ding ding. Nice. If you're going to be riding all year round, I would suggest the RS. But most of the time you buy a bike, if you're like me, because you look at it and you think, yeah, that looks for nuts, that looks for dogs, dangly doodads. So that's why you buy it, because you like the look of it, rather than looking at the practical side. But the good thing about BMW is that they're very good at lending you bikes. So you can just walk in there as a random off the street, providing you got your licence in your pocket, and then you can test ride a bike. So they've always got a fleet of pretty much every model of current BMWs that you can test ride. So yeah, get yourself down to your local BMW dealership and test ride a bike. And if you're looking at one of these, test ride this one that's going to buffy you to death, and then test ride the RS, which is probably not going to buffy you to death, and then you'll be in a better position to make an informed choice. There you go. How's that for consumer advice? These brakes are like proper. What's the rear brake like? See, even the rear brake's pretty good. As far as, oh yes, as far as rear brakes go, that's really good. Right, what's it like going slow? It's not bad. This is when I use a bit of rear brake, going slow. And now I can't see where I'm going because everything's steamed up. Great. Right, apply a bit of rear brake and throttle at the same time. and hopefully you'll be able to ride in relative straight line without the bars going wobbly wobbly. And now I've got to stop. You can see the power coming out here. You see the power coming out here, and there'll be a police car sitting in the slow boy just there. Like there, look. It's like that was a police car as well. So I've had a little ride, I've gone home for a bit to defrost and do a little bit of work, and now I'm going back down to BMW to return this beast. So I've had an hour or so's reflection on what I thought of the ride. Now I've been scouting the weather because yeah, it's pretty crap, and it's never nice riding in crap weather, is it? You can't get a proper feel for what's going on. But in conclusion, I think this bike is absolutely epic. It's such a stunning bit of kit to ride. Very, very torquey. Alright, it's not going to rip your arms off like, you know, an out-and-out ballistic monster of a you know, Street Fighter type of weapon, but it's got plenty of grunt, plenty of torque for the road. You're never going to get the most out of this sort of bike unless you're, you know, Rossi or somebody. So it's got plenty of go about it. It's so comfortable, it's so easy to ride. The suspension's nice, the brakes are really, really sharp. Everything's good about it. This would be epic, like I said earlier. This would be really, really nice to ride when it warms up a bit and the roads are dry, when you can have a bit more fun. Because it's not until you like push them a little bit and they kind of come alive, or they sort of show up their flaws somewhat, or maybe your flaws to a certain extent, or obviously also. I suppose the only criticism I could have of this bike, which is not really criticism because it's the type of bike it is the wind buffering. I couldn't live with it, to be honest with you. And when you're going 60 mile an hour, you think to yourself, oh yeah, you got wind buffering, but it's, you know, it's doable. Why is this camera not working? You know, it's kind of you can live with it, it's not that bad. But when you're going sort of 70 and above, yeah, it's not great, to be honest with you. I mean, alright, I'm a bit bigger and I've got the wrong sort of helmet on as well. I've got an adventure helmet with a peak on it, and obviously it's like having a spoiler on the wrong way around. You get the wind underneath the peak and it tries to rip your head backwards. But yeah, but that's my fault for wearing the wrong helmet, not the bike's fault, is it? So, like I said earlier, if you don't like the wind buffering on the R, naked R, you can go for the RS, which is the same bike with fairing and screen on there. So that will probably eliminate that problem. So yes, it is all good. Would I swap my GS for one of these? No, I wouldn't. Simply because, like I said earlier, I like the big comfy bus. But this is certainly easier to ride than a GS. And you probably, a lot of shorter riders are going to struggle with a GS. I mean, I've even heard quite a few say that about the low seat option as well, the low chassis one rather. They still somewhat struggle on it. Whereas this one, I don't know whether it's just a wooden chassis height on this, but okay, alright, I've got long legs, I'm 6'1", but I'm blimey. If I stand up, I've got about another foot, I reckon. Oh, this is nice. In the wrong lane again. But she certainly is nice. Great looking bike, cheaper than a GS. On the road, I'd say it's easier to ride than a GS. What's not to like? Anyway, I'm going to go and pick my GS up again now and spend loads of money on its 12,000 mile service. I'm ready to think how much that's going to be. Hopefully I'll get a reasonable discount. And on that note, thanks very much for watching. Please consider subscribing. I mean, you don't have to, it's kind of up to you, it don't cost you anything. And I'll speak to you on the next one. Thanks again, see you later.